gentlemen, I'm really sorry if I just deafened you. Can you face this way? Babs is about to do her first speech. Only speech.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and to the Welsh contingent here, who before they travelled down had to pack 3 waterproofs, a hip flask, and book a sheep sitter, Prynhawn dar pawb. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah's mum, Barbara, but most people simply call me Babs, a shortened version, but also much easier to pronounce after a couple of glasses of Prosecco. And today I have the enormous privilege and mild terror, I'm shaking up here, of standing here as the mother of the bride. Now, when I imagine this day, seeing Sarah in a wedding dress, marrying the love of her life, I didn't picture myself doing public speaking. I pictured myself with a nice glass of Prosecco, a canapé or two, not facing a room full of people waiting to see if I'm funny. So let me set expectations. I'm not a natural comedian by any means. My idea of wild humour is mismatched socks, a You've Been Framed video, and the I know my name joke. And if you want to know about that, ask Sarah or Abigail. But for Sarah and Jack, I'll give it a go. Sarah was born in Slough, which means she was destined for greatness. Anyone who can survive Slough and the toddler years will go far. She was raised in Tenby, a beautiful town by the sea, full of charm, colour, and seagulls with no regard for personal boundaries. Tenby is where she built sandcastles, made lifelong memories, lifelong friends, and yes, once she went to nursery with no knickers on. We're still not sure quite how it happened. She blames me for not giving her any, but in her defence, she was 3 and fashion forward. Honestly, it's the confidence we all aspire to. Sarah's always been spirited, independent, and ever so slightly stubborn. She has an older sister, Abigail, who taught her those important life lessons, as well as how to share, how to argue, and how to get artwork off walls without leaving a trace. Her dad, Dave, and I are no longer married, but we are both incredibly proud of the beautiful, kind, strong woman Sarah has become. And if you ever doubt how loved she is, just look around you today. And now to Jack. Poor Jack had to pass the ultimate test before he could propose to Sarah. He came to visit me to ask for my blessing. We sat on the sun terrace at the Imperial Hotel in Tenby, Jack probably sweating more than when he ran the ring across the country, and very sweetly asked if I would give my blessing for him to propose to Sarah. And I knew then, even if I didn't already, that he was the right one for her. Because let's be honest, any man who will design the engagement ring himself and then search antique shops to find it, and then drive from Buckingham to Tenby and back in one day just to collect it secretly, is either mad, in love, or both. And who doesn't love a bit of madness? Sarah thought he was working that day. She had no idea he was off on a James Bond-style Welsh jewellery heist. And then they got engaged in Florence. An upgrade from when we got engaged, when we went to a pub near the local B&Q. Together, Sarah and Jack are a perfect team. They laugh easily, travel well, and crucially, seem to agree what to watch on Netflix. Jack brings calm and balance to Sarah's energy, and Sarah brings fire, fun, and occasional emotional outbursts to Jack's calm. It works. They are genuinely a brilliant couple, and it makes me so happy to see them begin their next chapter, surrounded by love, maybe dodgy dancing, and the people who mean the most to them. So I want to say this to Sarah. You've always done things your way, sometimes with knickers, sometimes without. And I've always admired your courage, your strength, and your kindness. Watching you grow up has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. And to Jack, welcome to the family, officially. We might be a bit quirky, a bit unconventional, and occasionally overshare nursery stories, but we love Sarah, and now we love you too. So please raise your glasses to the newlyweds, to love, to laughter, to Tenby trips, Florence proposals, and to many years of happiness ahead. Jack and Sarah.
Jack and Sarah.
Hello. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for me. I'm sure that many or all of you have spent more than 10 minutes with either Sarah, Georgia, or all the Tenby lot to know that it's very difficult to get a word in edgeways when they're in the same room together. So I'm going to really enjoy this microphone. Thank you, Babs, for your kind words. I also had a little bit in here about how nervous I was when I asked for your blessing that day in the beer garden of the Imperial. Sarah had been very clear with me about the engagement ring a year or two before. It had to be sapphire, not new, not a single stone, definitely not gold. Definitely gold. I worked myself into a bit of a panic when Andy in the shop convinced me to go for platinum, which completely clashed with Sarah's brief. I lost a lot of sleep over it. But it was Babs who calmed me down and said Sarah would love whatever I chose. There was a gift from me, and I had to love it too. Babs, you've always been Sarah's voice of reason growing up, and now I've experienced it firsthand. I'm really grateful for how welcoming you've been to me. So cheers to you both and Dave for raising such an amazing woman. I'd like to extend a thank you to those who've travelled to be with us today. Sarah's dad and his wife, Nui, flying in from Thailand this week. A handful of northerners dotted around the room, figuring out how to use the knives and forks. And all the girls up from Tenby and London, so yeah, thank you. While we're on thank yous, Georgia, thank you for all your help in organising the hen do, the wedding, keeping Sarah sane these past few months. And a big thank you to my dad for buying tonight's dinner that we've just enjoyed. Now, I did go back and forth a bit about how to handle this next part, but I think it's important to recognise that... Can you help me, Georgia? Sorry. Thanks. That Sarah and I are who we are because of the people who've shaped us through our lives. So I'd like to raise a toast to those who would have loved to have been with us today, but are sadly called away from us too soon. Nanny Eileen, who would have been proud of my gardening and Sarah's baking. Grampy Sid, who would have loved hearing about my work at Caterpillar. Uncle Bill, who gave me so much career advice and would have rivalled the best man for the biggest Liverpool supporter. Grandad Sean, who would have outdressed every one of us blokes here today. And of course John, whom Sarah shared an instant bond and showed us both what true love looked like in the way that he cared for my nan. If Sarah and I could be half the people they all were, we'd be on a path to a very happy life, so cheers. Before we move on, a quick toast to my parents, to my mum Tracy, who Sarah clicked with the moment they met. There's a great story about the first Christmas at Mum's where Sarah ended up impersonating Hitler. Something that will never be lived down. Even before Sarah come along, Mum has always been so caring and kind, and we share some kind of unspoken language. We just get how the other feels without saying a word. Seeing how close she and Sarah are now is honestly one of the best feelings. It's the ultimate approval when your mum genuinely loves your partner. And I can't quite believe these words have made it into today's speech, but may there be many more Hitler moments around Mum's house in the future. Anyway, not on purpose, but I'm trying to keep it under 3,000 words, so Hitler to my dad. So, growing up, Dad was always doing what dads do, working hard, supporting the family in every way possible. That example has hopefully set me up to do the same for my own future family. Every spare minute we'd be at a Man City match, playing football down Lambrick Way, out with hot air balloons at 5 a.m. or metal detecting on the weekends. Without Dad's sense of adventure, which he's definitely passed on to me, I wouldn't have been out exploring Wales with Zeus that day I met Sarah, and I probably wouldn't have even had Zeus. I know that everyone has their own relationships with their parents, but for me, this is the only chance I'll ever have to stop and publicly say thank you. So to my parents, cheers. Now, a word about the best man. Since he's not doing a speech today, luckily for me, public speaking isn't really Dan's thing. But he's more than happy to sing at Anfield every weekend with 60,000 blokes with their tops off. So make of that what you will. It supports most of the stereotypes about electricians that you hear. He's been my closest friend for 15 years. He's dragged me on nights out across the country that I'd never have gone to otherwise. And in doing so, made sure that I've got some of the best memories I could have wished for. We've spent many a night in a grotty tent in Liverpool for festivals. He's got a knack of finding truly horrific hotels and won't rest until everybody's utterly plastered. Watching him raise his beautiful daughter, Ella, with Danielle this past year has been lovely. I truly don't know how he does it, because he almost certainly doesn't know how to use a washing machine, oven, microwave, sink, tumble dryer, hoover, mop, lawnmower. I can only assume Ella loves watching sport on TV and scalping festival tickets online. In all seriousness, though, he's got a heart of gold, will do anything for anyone apart from a quick speech. He's always there if I have any questions or work doing on the electrics, and often, surprisingly, has some pretty good life advice about some topics. Next up, Chris. I met Chris 7 or 8 years ago, or as we like to measure time, about 9 or 10 cars ago. When he joined my team at Cummins, we bonded over a love of the office, good coffee, hating people in general, and more recently, playing golf 3 or 4 times a week. He's always the first port of call for deep dive into UK politics. I really value our conversations, especially the healthy space we allow for disagreement, which is pretty rare these days. Hearing about him and Joe build their life together in the peaks has been great. I genuinely hope, mate, that one day soon you reach into that mysterious wallet we've heard so much about and sort something shiny out. You're golfing daily and coming home to a cooked dinner, so sort it out. And finally, Adam. Honestly, might be the funniest bloke I've ever met. He dines out on the fact that he looks like Peter Andre. I wouldn't be shocked if he sung Mysterious Girl to at least 10 of you, like he did in Tenerife a few months ago. On the stag do, Chris met Adam for the first time and declared within half a day that he might be the nicest guy he's ever met. Adam hadn't revealed his political views yet, so that was probably a bit premature. But we let him off. Prison guards are bound to have a few unusual takes on the world. It would have really pained Adam to buy a new suit today. Since being friends with me seems directly linked to being extremely tight. So thanks, mate, for all your help today and for borrowing those shoes off an inmate. Also, a quick note, my good friend Francois couldn't be here today with his beautiful wife Lauren. They've just last night welcomed a beautiful baby into the world. So a toast, if you don't mind, to the groomsmen and to the health of the new baby. So I'm not going to go on quite as long about the girls, but they do all look incredible today. So thank you for all your help with the hairnet today. Claudia, I first met Claudia on New Year's Eve in Tenby. Walking into a kitchen of about 12 drunk girls was intense for anyone, let alone an awkward engineer who hates crowds, and with Claudia belting out ABBA at full volume with Sarah. But she brings the vibe every time I meet her, and Sarah is always so happy for hours after spending time with Claudia, so her energy is infectious. Sophia, like Claudia, we met the same night in Tenby. She won't remember probably, but she made a real effort to walk into town with me while the others stormed ahead, and I really appreciated how welcoming she was. It meant a lot to me after the hour or two in the kitchen being interrogated by the rest of them. Libby. It was really tough to not write 3 pages, eh? One for each of your personalities. So, whether it's floor kebab in a taxi, Libby, 12-minute voice note in the middle of work, or kind, loving sister Lib, she's always unapologetically herself, and we absolutely adore her. I tried to count how many memes and reels we sent each other the other day, but genuinely impossible. It averages out something like 20 a day for a year. It was pretty even. Emily, I haven't spent loads of time with Emily since you're often far away in a different country or the other end of the country. But I'm sure you both imagined this day together when you were kids, so I hope to live up to whatever 12-year-old Emily imagined for Sarah's future husband. And Georgia, don't worry. Georgia and Sarah instantly clicked a few years ago when Sarah moved to England, probably because they're both selfless and full of love. It's clear Georgia would do anything for her. We're lucky to have her in our lives, especially since her top hobby is the same as ours, the pub. Now a few words about my wife, Sarah. To start with, the amount of work she's put into this wedding is unbelievable. She sourced every single vase on the table from charity shops around the country, spray painted them white, sometimes 3 times, hand folded all of your napkins and pressed them with the iron while laying in bed one afternoon, and sent the venue a pictorial guide for the name tag angles that they should be laid out as. She chose each flower and made all the wooden signage outside that you'll see. It's been amazing watching her dive into it all, if not slightly terrifying, seeing her with the jigsaw and the sander outside with 3 gins in the garden. So thank you for arranging today. Before I met Sarah, I think it's fair to say we both believed at the time we'd known love, but I'd never experienced real, once-in-a-lifetime love, the kind that fills up your friendships, your home, your future, your whole life. Being the over-planner that I am, I've had a note open on my phone for a few years now, where I've jotted down thoughts for this speech. When I reviewed them this week, most of them got deleted out of sheer cringe. But one made the cut. And this is exactly what I wrote word for word, and it was all spelled correctly, so I think I was sober. When Sarah and I bought this abandoned house, it didn't have much going for it. No foundations, no solid roof. The walls are just a suggestion, and I think it actively resents us for moving in. I've been working here alone for a few weeks while Sarah's been at work, and the house has been cold, damp, and soulless. Stopping for lunch has been daunting as the house glares back at me in all its gloom. So I've tried to avoid being inside her alone in silence. But then this weekend came when we moved in together and Sarah had some time off. It's now the evening and Sarah has done what she does best, cranked up the JBL, rustled up something in the kitchen on our oven that doesn't go above 130 degrees C, and started singing her heart out. That was the end of the note, but I can remember so clearly how my image of the house changed in that moment. It instantly felt like home. And now I realise home isn't necessarily where you live, it's who you live with and what you do with your time together. Home's a state of mind, that feeling when you can switch off, reflect, and just enjoy being. We all need someone who can make a cold, empty space feel like home. And today I'm celebrating a life ahead of me where no matter where I am or whatever situation we find ourselves in, I will always be at home when you're with me. Sarah, I'm so proud to call you my wife because you do this wherever you go and with everyone you meet. You have a heart of pure gold. You hold yourself to such high standards even when everything's stacked against you. You've turned every quiet moment of my life into something bright and full. I promise to spend the rest of my life doing Friday crosswords with you, dancing in the garden after a few drinks, and doing everything in my power to make you happy every single day. I love you. Cheers. Thank you.
Well, that's a speech to follow. Sorry. So, obviously, Dan chose not to do a speech today, so...
Straight away.
Here I am. Didn't know what went into a Maid of Honour speech, so when preparing this, I had to do a bit of Googling, looking up what went into it, how long it should take. I did look it up, and it did tell me it should take as long as the groom lasts in bed, so I would just like to say thank you and good night to everyone.
Very good.
No, I'm joking. Hello. Firstly, thank you all to come in for Bicester, because I realise that I'm fairly local and most of you really aren't local. No, because I'm a very loud person. If anyone is deafened by me, please give me the look, because I am a loud person. Okay. Thank you all for coming to Bicester to celebrate Sarah and Jack. I don't know why I'm saying thank you, because I didn't actually invite any of you, but thanks all the same. For those of you that don't know me, my name's Georgia. I have the incredible honour of being Sarah's maid of honour today. For those of you that do know me, are probably wondering why I have been allowed to do a speech today. Just over 18 months ago, I had gone to the pub with Sarah and Jack, shock, and was stood at the bar with Sarah. I decided to float the idea of me moving to live in a sunnier destination. I can tell you now I was not prepared for Sarah's response. She shouted at me. It wasn't loud in the pub, by the way. You can't do that because I want you to be my maid of honour. And I remember thinking, is she asking me or is she telling me? I went back to Jack and I said, Sarah's just shouted at me. I was like, saying I wasn't allowed to leave the country and that I was a maid of honour. But writing this speech and coming up with what to say has been near on impossible, because if you know anything about mine and Sarah's friendship, then you'll know it's really hard to formalise and put into words just how much our friendship means to me. That and the fact that most of our memories and stories probably aren't appropriate in such a setting, considering I have been warned to keep it strictly PG. Actually, they did take it a step further. They advised me to make up some wholesome stories and promised that they would go along with them. No, you did. At the pub, you promised that we'd adopt a child and we sponsored that. Yeah, see? Oh, yeah. There comes a time in someone's life where they meet their soulmate and the one person they're truly meant to spend the rest of their lives with. And for Sarah, that was the day she met me. I haven't been as lucky as most of you, and I haven't known Sarah for most of her life. But I can tell you, the years I have known her have been the best. I moved back to the country from living abroad and started a new job with nowhere to live. Believe it or not, I was shy. Really? I was. But Sarah reached out and she asked, pub? She may as well have asked me if the Pope was Catholic. This was how I knew we were going to be good friends. And it definitely has been the foundation of our friendship over the years. I'm sure when Sarah went home and told Jack she had met a new girl at work, that he never anticipated he'd essentially have a second girlfriend, but in all the worst ways. Sarah. Not many people are lucky enough to say they have such a beautiful, funny, caring, intelligent, and kind-hearted friend. Normally this would be the part where I'd say, but you're lucky to say that you can say that about me. But I am genuinely so lucky to have found such an incredible person that plays such a big part in my life. Friendship isn't about who you've known the longest. It's about who walked into your life and said, I'm here for you, and they proved it. There has never been a time when you haven't shown up for me and hyped me up, even if it does come in the form of copious bottles of Prosecco. I want to say I love you and thank you for being the sister I never had. The past few years have been one hell of a fun ride, and I can't wait for all the adventures still to come. And yes, Jack, you are invited. Jack. Now, where to start with Jack? For starters, he's handsome, witty, intelligent. He's charming. Jack, I can't read your handwriting.
You're going to make some sort of joke.
Thank you for being one of the girls.
Yeah.
This man offers me advice on everything, from cars to boys. You're also like the sister I never had, but definitely the older one that's brutally honest with me, but will loan me money if I run out. Seriously though, I couldn't think of anyone to be a better third wheel to me and Sarah.
Thank you.
You're so patient with the both of us, and I think it's clear to everyone here in this room that not only are you perfect husband material, but you really are the perfect man for Sarah. To both of you, I've been so lucky to be able to witness such a love. Thank you for teaching me never to settle, although Sarah does tell me to lower my standards so I won't be alone forever.
Hold on. She told you what? I should have proofread this.
But true love takes dedication, commitment, and a whole heap of alcohol from both sides. You make each other laugh, aren't afraid to be honest with each other, but most importantly, are each other's safe space. I think it's safe to say, if you can buy a house, essentially rip it out, start again, all while planning and executing a wedding, you can survive anything together. As Audrey Hepburn once said, the best thing to hold on to in life is each other. May you always lift each other up and find the joy in little moments. Finally, I'd like to finish with some toasts. Please can everyone raise their glass for the most important people in this room. They always go above and beyond to make sure everyone is happy, nothing is ever too much, and they just give, give, give. And that's the bar staff. Thanks, Lib. Lib's prepped. Secondly, can we raise a glass for the second most important people in the room that are not only the bride and the groom, but they actually are two of my best friends and the best people I've ever had the privilege of knowing. To Jack and Sarah.
Yes, do.
Yes, done it. Wait. We got more. Thirdly, can we raise a glass for Babs, Dave, Tracy, David. Thank you for giving me two of my best friends. Could you not be so distracted by a wasp?
Sorry.
Next, can we raise a glass? I'm only joking. I just like a drink and I'd like you all to be on the dance floor. No, Jack, please don't cover what I'm reading. All jokes aside, though, I just want to say I love you both so much and I can't wait to celebrate this next chapter in life with you. Thank you.
So I know that a lot of you won't be expecting to see me up here making a speech today because it's not traditional for the bride to give a speech. But from the moment that I started planning this day, I knew that I wanted to stand up here and say my piece. For those of you who know me, I can't keep my gob shut for more than about 5 minutes, and I'm not going to let this lot stand up here and take all the glory for what I have done today. And my speech may not be as funny as the rest of them because I feel like they've taken all the jokes, they've done all the little bits about all the people and Dan. But I wanted to say the sentiments and speak about the people I love, and maybe not to the same extent that Jack did. His speech was wonderful. But I just want to let you all know that I love you. So firstly, I'd like to thank Jack's mum and dad, Tracy and David. You've welcomed me into your family with open arms and have been such a huge support to me and Jack since then. Jack is really, really lucky to have you as his parents. There is always the running joke of the nightmare mother-in-law, and I do know a few, maybe not you in here, who do have them, and they're awful. But Tracy, you are truly one of a kind. I chose Jack not knowing that loving him would also bring me you. And I think it just goes to show that you have become one of the girls. You have lived and loved life as hard as the rest of us, and you have been there, questionable positions, drinking questionable drinks, And I truly, truly love you for that. To my bridesmaids, you have each come into my life at different times, and together you've helped shape the woman I am today. The woman who's standing in front of you, happier than she ever thought she could be. I know I can always rely on you to be there for me, and you all make me so happy every single day. You also planned me the most wonderful hen do. I had such a fabulous time, and I'm so grateful to you all for that. I'd like to thank you for the help you've given me through planning that has brought us here today, even when I'm hopelessly unorganised, and you've just basically had to start directing your questions to Georgia because you know you'll get a response from her instead of me. Speaking of Georgia, I would just like to give a special thanks to her. Little did we know that oversharing and hating most of the same people at work would lead us to where we are today and make us the best of friends. You have become someone who is so dear to me, and I could not imagine doing any of this without you by my side. We've had so many amazing days and evenings together, and we are not always each other's best influence during those times, but you always take care of me, and I know you would literally do anything to get me home safe at the end of the night. You have really kept me sane through wedding planning and truly understood my I must control everything mindset. Thank you for being a calming influence and for knowing that when I say I don't need help, I definitely do. I love you, and I can't wait to annoy Jack together for the rest of our lives.
Jesus Christ.
Point proven. I'd like to say thank you to my parents. You gave me such a wonderful childhood filled with so many great memories, and for that I am so grateful. I literally would not be here today without you. Oh, no, I'm not done reading that, thank you. Mum, you are one of my best friends, and I know I can come to you with anything. You've been there for me through all of life's ups and downs, oversharing over many gins or bottles of wine. I don't tell you enough how much I admire you and appreciate you. I remember gushing to you about Jack after our first date, and I knew that when you met him, you truly understood why he was the one for me. Your love, not just for me, but for the both of us, means the world. Dad. Here's a little bit. I've thought about having you walk me down the aisle long before I even knew who the man was that was going to be at the top of the aisle. You've given Jack very big shoes to fill. Growing up, though, I'm not sure if I was a bit of an experiment in parenting. And I really don't understand why Dad was put in charge of the trial run. The running joke was that I was adopted. And when that upset me, Dad, along with Abby, would say that I'd been replaced by my evil twin, which quite understandably just upset me more. However, now that I'm not traumatized by this, you have made me see the humor in life and learn to take the things that aren't as positive not too seriously. You're so loving, hard-working, and dare I say it, funny. You have shown me what to expect and what not to expect from a man, and I really do hope you're happy with my choice. To Abby, we've had our fair share of sibling rivalry over the years, but as we've grown, I found a wonderful friend in you. You were the first person I call when I need advice, and our dinner dates have become my favourite part of life. Thank you for always having my back, even when my evil twin raised her ugly head. Before we get on to the main event, I would just like to extend a sincere thank you for all of you for coming here today. To my friends and family, who I'm sure would all agree I don't see often enough, thank you. It means the world to me, and I'm sure to Jack too. Jack. my wonderful husband. For the last 6 years, you've not had the easiest time with me. And I know it's been tough for you that you've never won a game of mini golf. It is true. Just before I carry on talking about you, I want to take a moment to talk about Zeus, who can't be here today because he's a nightmare. We love him, but he's a nightmare. If it wasn't for him, I truly don't think we would be here today. He was the reason you were in Wales in the first place, for us to have met. And I think the way me and Zeus fell in love with each other made you fall in love with me. He's been part of the reason we've had so many adventures and made so many wonderful memories. So Jack and I moved in together the day that Boris locked down the country. I packed up my polo and I drove up from Tenby, whatever I could fit in the little tiny boot. And it was a huge adjustment for me to be away from my family without even taking into account that we were quite literally trapped together. However, that time really taught us to communicate. See the joy in the small things and find happiness when it was just the two of us. During this time, I've fallen so in love with you and you've become the most important person in my life. Whatever happens in my days, I'm pulled through knowing that when I get to come home to you, I get to come home to my safe place. Even if the DIY projects you tend to be doing make it quite unsafe. I feel like I'm missing a bit. No, I'm not. Don't know my speech that well. You've taught me to love deeply, to live life to the fullest and get out of bed sometimes. And most of all, you've taught me patience. And patience is a necessary life skill to live with Jack. Because of his impulsive thoughts. So not too long ago, I was enjoying a relaxing bath. Like bubbles, wine, blah, blah, blah. When I suddenly heard this string of expletives and blasphemy, and I looked up, and the hallway just lit up. And then Jack rang past with a literal box of flames. So you see, he'd been cleaning some bolts or something weird, I don't know, with some brass out. And the thought popped into his head of whether or not these little tiny bits of cloth covered in alcohol were flammable. This man didn't just take a minute, maybe two seconds, to think about whether or not they were and what could happen if they were. He lit one on fire. He panicked, he dropped it in the box, and the box went on fire. Needless to say, my relaxation time was cut short, and he got some stern words from me. But I'm not sure you wouldn't do it again. However, your just go for it and don't think about it attitude has been an absolute gift to me. You jump into any project, yes, without hesitation, and no job is too big. So the welcome sign there, I've painted them and I've done the bits, but I said to Jack, I need this, and it just appeared. So I truly, like some of the DIY stuff for this wedding, you have put in so much effort, and I'm so appreciative for that. You are literally renovating our home by yourself, with a little help or hindrance from me, and you're the most hard-working person I've ever met in my entire life. You truly live your life with me in mind at every turn, and I'm so grateful to have someone who cares so deeply for me and takes care of me the way you do. You know when I'm down and exactly what I need to cheer me up. You are so generous, caring, and funny, and I don't know what I did to deserve somebody like you. You're everything I could have ever wanted and more. I love you more than I ever thought possible, and I can't wait to spend the rest of my life having adventures and making memories with you. even if it means you finally beating me at mini golf one day. So this is the final thing you're going to have to listen to somebody drone through. So cheers, everyone. Thank you for being here to celebrate with us. To me and Jack. I'm not going to drop it.